So picking up where we left off, I had just moved to Evansville, and spending my first day in my new apartment, I was feeling a little reminiscent. And I sent Miss O an email that instead of replying to, she just came straight to my house. When I opened that door, I was surprised. I didn't know what to think. She just came in, like she owned the place, and she helped me put together some furniture that I'd bought, and it felt like she never left. Now, if I was a smart man, right then and there I would have explained to her that I lied about the divorce. But of course, I wasn't a smart man. I was a coward. I was terrified. And in front of me was the woman that I loved. And I didn't want to destroy everything on that first day. But that first day turned into many, and our relationship grew again. And this time I was here, there were no barriers. And honestly, as crazy as this sounds, I started to believe the lie. When you live something like that for so long, it becomes a part of you. I got closer to her. I got closer to her friends. I got closer to her family. And I didn't know how to stop this snowball. There was no easy way to stop it. Do I get a divorce in secret and continue to live a lie? Do I tell her and ruin everything? There's no way she's going to want to be with me after that. Those are the things that kept going through my head. And our relationship just grew and we got closer. And we started talking about things like marriage. How does a married man marry another woman? But I wanted to marry her. I wanted her to be my wife. I even bought her a ring because I wanted her to know how much she meant to me and how much I did want to marry her. But again, I was still living a lie. I moved to Indiana in the summer of 2017. And by the winter of 2018, marriage was full force on the table. A date was set to be married in July of 2019. And I knew I couldn't go through with that. But instead of being a decent man, I decided to wait till the last minute. After a venue was already picked out and paid for, a dress was bought and paid for, arrangements were made. And in the first quarter of 2019, I went to Miss O's house to break up with her. That was the first and only time I've ever broken up with Miss O. Over all these years, I have never given up on her, and even in that moment, that wasn't me giving up on her, that was me trying to do the best thing I could. Because I knew I couldn't go through with the marriage, legally. Yet again, I was still a coward. I was a little boy, and I couldn't tell her the truth. And I left her with more questions than she had answers. And let me tell you, Miss O is a strong woman. She's opinionated, she's independent. She's the strongest woman I've ever met. And there's only been a handful of times in this lifetime I've ever seen her in desperation. And leaving her house that day was one of the most painful memories I have. Because she looked at me and she said, "Can you live with a me-size hole and a Spencer-size hole in your heart?" And I didn't answer. I just looked away. The answer was going to be no. I took the key to her house off my key ring and I set it on her dresser and I walked out of her room. And as I was walking out of her room, I heard her voice crackle and she said, "Can you live with a yayo-size hole in your heart?" Yayo is our dog. And at that moment I realized that she was so desperate to keep me in her life that she was using the dog as leverage. She was grasping at any straw to keep me there. And honestly, I'll never forgive myself for that day. And I walked out of her house. And then I went and did what every stupid man does when he's heartbroken. I went and got into a relationship with another woman. But to hear more, you'll have to come back for part 7.